Every day I'm hustling, 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 hustling.
Welcome to the Tour Track with Adam Connolly and myself, Vaughn Hart. We bring you destination experience operators from all over the world to chat about their experiences, find out what makes them and their businesses tick.
Thanks very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to hearing all about your business and all about how you operate. Do you want to give us like the quick pitch on what your business is, what the experiences you offer to customers?
Absolutely. So Gustibus was created or founded in 1980. So in 1980, the founder, Arlene Sayak, had this idea of bringing chefs live to a stage to demonstrate dishes from their restaurants or cookbooks. So, think about it. Back then, nobody did anything like that. You did have food TV. You did have, James Beard was one of the original TV programmers, Graham Kerr, Julia Child, but nobody really did it live on stage. So she actually decided that she was going to do this, and she would rent out a theater on Monday nights and turn around and say, hey, she was writing to all these chefs, basically saying, hey, would you consider doing these events for me? And it really caught on. And people started feeling like, wow, this is a really good thing. So it was very much a word of mouth. So that went on for about 2 years. And then someone approached her and said, Macy's in New York City has a cooking school, a cooking program that's not really successful. Why don't you speak to them? She was introduced to the woman who was running the special events and said, well, why don't you take your program here? And she did. And it started that where she actually worked for Macy's or doing the programs for Macy's. Then she turned around and she was smart. She said, I don't want to work for you. I'd rather work for myself, and I'll be in your building and I'll lease a space. So she was a big forefront thinker of knowing that people that normally not want to shop at Macy's now were coming in because our clientele are more of that Upper East Side. They go to Bloomingdale's, they go to Saks, they go to Bergdorf's. That's the clientele that we bring because the chefs that we were getting were 2, 3, 4 New York Times starred chefs, Michelin starred chefs, all that. So it was very successful. And what she prided herself on, as do I, is that we get those chefs from the very beginning. From when they're just starting out, you start reading about them, you read the food magazines, you see what the blog posts are saying, you invite them before they get to that point of stardom. And one thing that's indicative is that we have this system where every chef that cooks at the Gustibus, we take their photos. We have either we have photographers that are come, or I do them myself. When they return, the photo gets put on the wall. So we have photos dating back since the 80s of these chefs when they're very young. So when a new chef comes in, they see this wall of fame and they're looking like, oh my goodness, is that Anthony Bourdain? Oh my goodness, is that Eric? Thomas Keller? Julia Child cooked here? Yes. So it gives them that and I basically say, you're on the same stage as them. You're doing the same thing they did. So it gives chefs a great opportunity to be in front of that audience, showcase their dishes, talk about themselves, talk about their restaurants, promote their cookbooks, and really just have an evening out. And I always say that one of the best things for me is, as the host and owner, I love watching these chefs come out of their shells, not feeling that they're comfortable in front of an audience, but as the moderator, I don't make them stop speaking. So I'm constantly asking them questions because by me asking them the questions, they don't have time to be nervous. I'm just shooting it out there and making sure that the audience is asking questions. I'm facilitating those questions as well as coordinating with the back of the house team. So they're getting to eat the dish, ask the questions, write their notes, taste the paired wines. So it's very all-encompassing.
For the customers who come and they have their food there, what kind of meal are they getting? A full meal, or are they getting a taster menu, or
We're getting a tasting menu. We always say, I never tell anybody that it's a full meal, because what you're coming for is the experience that includes the tasting of the dishes as well as the wines and the recipe booklets as well as other items from my sponsors. So I'll give everybody a 1-year subscription to Food and Wine Magazine, which is a wonderful food magazine that's been around for close to 30 years. So they get a free subscription there. They get offers from Macy's and my other partners. So it's, it's very all-encompassing. And when you have a celebrity chef like an Andrew Zimmern, that people are just, he's a celebrity, but he's on my stage, and here's your opportunity. And I manage it in a way that I don't want people, they don't scream out, it's not a ruck, it's very controlled.
Who's the most famous chef you've had? You mentioned Anthony Bourdain. What did he cook? What was on his tasting menu? Do you remember?
I don't remember, because actually I bought the school in 2008. So the school was in existence since 1980, and I bought the school in 2008 because my husband is a tour operator and does customized food and wine tours for all of Italy, 5-star tours, as well as all the parts of Europe. Arlene, the founder, wanted to do a Sicily tour. Hired Gary, because they had a mutual friend, hired Gary. I could not go on the tour because I was actually working at the James Beard Foundation, which is one of the preeminent culinary institutions in America, as their director of house operations and events. So I couldn't go because I was working on a big project. But she met me, and we just hit it off. We were like two chatty Cathys, just chatting. And she grabbed my hand and she went like this: "You should buy my school." And I went, "What?" I'm like, "No way." I'm like, "Me?" I'm like, I was like, "No." And then it took a couple of months when I said, why not? And we negotiated for a good 6 months, and April 4th, 2008.
Wow.
I bought the school.
That's such a cool story. I wonder how many people in the world there are that have been told to buy somebody's business.
And she was waiting for somebody. That was the thing. She had offers. She never found the right person. And she saw something in me because I knew food. I went to culinary school. I ran restaurants. So she kind of saw what I had in me. For me, it's like you have to be hospitality focused.
I mean, have you had any situations in your experiences where customers have not enjoyed the food, or you've had kind of some awkward customers who have not respected what the chef is doing?
Oh, you get it on occasion. I mean, there's certain occasions. I mean, I'm very fortunate because I have customers that have been coming for over 20 years. You get it once in a while. I mean, some people, you get events when, someone drinks way too much, and, she was drinking way too much. The chef was handsome. I had to tell the woman she needed to kind of tone it down a little bit. She kind of didn't like I told her to tone it down. Whatever, it's fine. But it happens. That's the whole joy of being in this business. You never know. Every day is different. Every single day. There's no monotony. I mean, and you never know how the chef's going to be. You don't know what the clients are going to be. I mean, it's funny when you see even like my vegan clients. I do a lot of vegan classes, and they're very different, and look at my kosher clients. They're very different. I mean, when you talk about, with kosher food, or somebody who's a pescatarian. I mean, I had once a chef that he does this live, he brought in a fish tank with live eels. And the dish that he makes is that you take the eel, and to kill the eel, you have to put a nail through its head. And then you strip the skin and you season it with vinegar. And I kind of said to the chef, "Wow, okay, that might be a little daring." He's like, "But people need to see it." And I'm never going to tell a chef, you can't do it. So I had it was almost like a disclaimer, like, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a little drastic. So if you need to leave the room," and people mostly stay, or some people just like kept their head down because they just couldn't see it. I thought it was fascinating because we have to know where our food comes from, right? And this is how the dish is made. You can't make this dish on any frozen eel. It has to be live. it has to be stripped, and it has to be marinated in vinegar, and it turns blue, and that's it was incredible.
Wow.
It really was.
So did anybody choose not to eat it once you've done it?
Not really. I mean, listen, I will never tell anybody what to or not to eat.
No.
You know, sometimes it's not to their liking, and I see it all the time. I mean, we get customers. We're not a restaurant. You know, the food is coming. The food's already prepared. So it's very hard for me when someone says they come to, you know, a class that's serving all beef and I don't eat meat. Well, you should have read the description, because we're not a restaurant.
In terms of getting the chefs, obviously, I mean, you've had an incredible lineup of chefs over the years. Are people kind of queuing up to cook for your customers, or are you kind of actively recruiting chefs on an ongoing basis? Is there any kind of persuasion for them to is it a hard sell to get them in to come and cook for you or not?
The way I propose it is I'll send out invitations, because I have a very big roster of chefs. So I'll send out invitations, and we'll see who says, you know, there's times that, you know, chefs are way too busy. They don't have the time to do it, and they'll politely decline, and it's fine. There are others, like the publicist will pitch me, hey, I have this new chef or this new restaurant, and I'll do my research. If the cuisine is interesting, I would consider it. They don't have to be a famous chef. It's amazing that you could have a chef that's been on TV that doesn't sell as well as the dumpling lady from Flushing, Queens, that came with her chef that did not speak a word of English, and she was a nervous wreck. But there was a packed class of 60 people, and my team, she didn't bring anybody to help. My team had to do it. She brought the food. My team had to steam it, plate it, serve it. I had to help my team serve. Like because everybody was so busy preparing that we're all hands on deck.
It definitely sounds like something that has to be very professionally, almost choreographed.
Yes.
You know, to pull off in front of a live audience.
We always say we're a well-oiled machine.
I can't imagine that the chef could get halfway through a dish and kind of say, I've ballsed it up. I'll have to start again.
Well, it's funny. I had chefs at time. I had a chef once that was doing the class and in the middle got a call, saw it was his restaurant. A critic was there. He left. He literally said, ladies and gentlemen, I have the restaurant critic from the New York Times. I got to go. And he just left. And I had to pull his sous chef in. I'm like, finish up the class. But nobody cared. It was funny.
Where are you getting most of your customers from?
Until last year, we would produce a brochure. We have close to a 44,000 mailing list. And we would print and produce a brochure. That was early on this year. Moving towards the future, it's going to be all online and social media. In years past, we printed the brochure, and we would take out a full page ad in the New York Times.
Wow.
Twice a year.
Wow.
To have the whole description.
Yeah.
And it came to the point, I mean, that's how Arlene did it. And then when I took over the school, I actually did it. But I saw more value in putting that monies towards a PR agency,
right,
a social media strategist. Like, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And it worked to my benefit. It did.
Okay.
And then you get people from word of mouth. People are constantly signing up for the newsletter. So, you know, and once you post it on social, really, it's amazing what social media can do for anybody, for promoting anything.
Sending a brochure out to 44,000 people is costly.
It's costly.
Yeah.
Yes,
are you still going to produce the same brochure but just put it online?
Absolutely. Same thing. I will have the same PDF version, but it will be online and people could actually download it themselves.
Yep.
And we'll post it. I can say it's not, I mean, with COVID, it doesn't look likely that we're going to have any in-house classes this year. Probably will not have in-house classes until 2021. We'll be doing virtual classes, but no in-house. What I would like to do is give the Gustibus experience home. So chef has to come to Gustibus to do that class, that virtual class, because I'm setting up my current stage into a studio. And I will be the host. The chef will still be doing the demos. And there's still going to be the interaction between myself and the chef as well as the audience, because we're going to want the audience to write their questions in a chat, and I'll ask it for them and have the chef answer it to them. and in hopes that we could also work on getting the food delivered from the restaurant.
Yeah, that'd
So,
be cool.
because it's important for me as an institution that's been around for 40 years, and all these chefs for all these years have come to be a part of Gustibus. It's my way of helping them. So it'll be great if I could say to my clients, well, here's the price for virtual only, or here's the price where the chef will prepare the meal like a takeout order of the 4 dishes to be sent home so they could earn extra money and then do the upsell. Would you like any additional items on there? Do you know, right now, currently, a restaurant can provide wine to be delivered. It can't be like that, but now it can. It might change, but there's opportunities for them to earn a little bit extra and still get the word out. That's saying.
Do you think if you started your business from scratch now, with the clientele that you wanted to pitch at, do you think Macy's would be the natural home for it, or would you look at going somewhere that was a little bit more?
Macy's has been amazing, and I only say that, and again, it's not. I'm not disparaging Macy's at all. My customers typically don't shop at Macy's. It's not, and most, I mean, they do. Many do, and some don't. What I'm bringing to Macy's is the customers that normally wouldn't, but when they hear, they purposely put me on the same floor as housewares. So when that chef is using that Le Creuset pot, and I'm offering them 10% from Macy's, they might be more in tune in going and buying that right then and there because I'm giving them additive incentive.
How important is that partnership model that you've got? So obviously you've got a partnership with Macy's, which is integral, and your customers get 10% off their shopping, I guess. And you mentioned that you've got a food and wine subscription. Are those partnerships bringing in additional revenue for you on top of the customer, or is it more like that's an additional attraction for the customers to book?
I would say there's always an add value. Now, remember, I'm not a partner with Macy's. I actually lease a space within Macy's. I would say partners because when you're together for 40 years, you're partners. What I try to seek out in new partners are these partnerships where I could be the catalyst between the chef and the audience and the sponsor. So, for example, I'm blessed to have San Pellegrino and Panda as my water partner. We have bottled waters on the table. Before they come in, before they're even seated, we have miniature bottles that they could wait in line and they could drink. And there's the bottled waters over there. There's a brand value to that. It's an elevated brand. When you see a bottle of San Pellegrino, you know that you're in a high dining restaurant. Yeah. Before my customers leave, we have individual Lavazza espresso machines for everybody to have an espresso when they're leaving. On top of that, one thing that we started doing and I continue to do that I pride myself on is the chef gift program. I believe if a chef takes their time to come and teach a class at Gustibus, they deserve a gift. Everybody loves gifts, right? So I work with partners in figuring out a unique gift that will benefit the brand of the partner, give that opportunity to the chef and say, this is presented to you by, and a letter from the president or the representative of that partnership or that brand to say, hey, glad you did Gustibus. If you'd like these for your restaurant, I'm your direct contact. And another val ad offer.
Yeah.
And I also tell my partners now, in the past, we only did the chefs. And about 6 years ago, I'm like, well, wait a minute. The chefs bring their team, right? They're working. Why can't we give them something? And I said, give them a smaller gift. And it could be, and we've done it all. I mean, I've given the sous chefs beautiful notebooks, that waterproof notebooks. So when they write in their recipes, it doesn't stain or doesn't get wet. Aprons, knives. For the chefs, I've gone as much as I've given them Breville juicers, Le Creuset pots, Alessi stainless steel bowls from Italy.
So how often did you say your chefs come back?
Oof,
regulars or?
They do. Many do. Many do. Some don't. I mean, sometimes you'll have chefs that would come back every year for like 5, 6, 7 years. But when they hit that level of celebrity, then they come less.
Yeah.
Not that they don't want to come back, it's just that they have so much on their plate now, and everybody's asking them to do something. And I get it.
Are you selling to any tour operators?
Absolutely, 100%. We get a lot of tours. So it's funny, we get tours, travel agents or New York City tour operators that will call me. And we even get customers that will come and rent the school for their own filming. So we have rented the school many a times to do a filming. I've had 5-star resorts rent the school to use it to test their chefs for a new resort property. Absolutely. And they need a venue in New York City where the chef has free range of the kitchen, and we have a very big space, and then a private room where the owners could have tasted the food to make sure the determination if this is the person we want to hire. So
yeah, that's really interesting. Actually, that's really interesting. So us as an organisation, an association, looking to support experienced hosts and tour operators, small tour operators, and obviously you've got a almost iconic experience operating in New York. How can we as an organisation support you? Is there kind of one area that you think, I wish I had some kind of independent support I could go to for this, or actually you're all set, or what is there an area that we could kind of look to strengthen that would help you guys?
Well, thank you, Adam. Yes. To me, promotion is everything, right? And I think, promoting the school where it's located in this iconic building where many tourists come to Macy's. I think 49% of their customers are tourists.
So yeah, promotion is it's a really common theme from experienced operators in terms of something that we can support with. We've got we've got a platform starting soon, and we're asking everybody to register their details, and then we'll be promoting that to the public. And we've got a few other tricks and tools up our sleeves to get these experiences out to the public. That's awesome. Which will hopefully support you guys and
thank you.
Get a little bit more exposure for everybody. So
it's a different experience. And again, that's what I think that's the key. The longevity speaks for itself, and the experience speaks for itself, because again, anybody could go to these restaurants, right? And you could have a wealthy client that wants something that's very unique and very different, and they want that Michelin-starred chef to cook for them. Well, here's your answer. Right here.
Cool. Sal, it's been awesome talking to you.
Awesome talking to you, Adam.
Take up too much more of your time, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, and good luck to you.
Listen, wishing you all the best.
What a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for including me.
No worries at all.